Good day. This is a Geography Grade 10 lesson plan presentation about tectonic plates. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the tectonic plates, what a tectonic plate is, what causes the tectonic plates, how the tectonic plates move, as well as the consequences of the tectonic plates. When we talk about the consequences, we will be referring to the negative impacts that were caused by the tectonic plates. Before we go into details on this topic, we'll first watch the video of the tectonic plates on YouTube. Then we'll continue with our lesson. Now, since we have a little bit clue about what a tectonic plate is, before getting into detail about the tectonic plates, let's talk a little bit about the Earth for the sake of those who didn't understand the video on the last slide. The Earth is made up of several layers. The crust, which is the outer layer, the metal, the inner bit layer, which is brownish in color, and the core, which is orange in color. As you can see, the crust is the thinner layer compared to the rest of the layers. Under the crust is where we find the liquid layer on the orange part of the Earth, the liquid layer of molten magma, which it can be divided into lower mantle and the upper mantle. These two layers combined together with the crust are known as the lithosphere. We then have a core which is divided into outer core and the inner core. If you can look carefully on the picture of an Earth, you will see what I'm talking about, the inner core and the outer core. The inner core is the hardest core, whereas the outer core is the liquid core because of the highest temperature. The inner core, it is in the yellow part of the Earth. This one is the hardest core, while the outer core, it is in the orange part. This one, it is in liquid. It is liquid because of the highest temperature, which is found outside there. Right now, let's go to the content of our topic. The tectonic plate is defined as a large rigid slab of solid rock. The tectonic plates form the outer layer of the lithosphere, which we call the crust. The plates move independently, therefore they often shift around to collide, drift apart, or slide past each other. The plates include both the land and the ocean parts. What causes the tectonic plates? What drives the tectonic plates? We have three factors that causes the tectonic plates, whereby we have the ridge push. The ridge push plate pushed by weight of a mid-ocean ridge. Secondly, we have the slab push, the plate pulled by the weight of its cold, dense subducting section. Then thirdly, we have metal convection, plate dragged by a convection current in the metal. The slow movement of a hot, softened metal lies between the rigid plates, where the hot, softened rock in the metal moves in a circular manner in a convection flow. The heated molten rock rises to the surface, spreads and begins to cool, and then sinks back down to the reheated and rises again. This is how the tectonic plates. We have different types of plate boundaries, but in this lesson we're only going to talk about 3 plate boundaries, whereby we have the divergent plate boundary. This plate boundary takes place when two tectonic plates spread apart from each other. As you can see on a picture, these two arrows are spreading or moving apart from each other. This is the place where the crust is destroyed as one plate divides under another. Then secondly, we have the convergent boundary. This one occurs when two plates move towards. They are moving towards each other. This is the place where new crust is generated as the plates pull away from each other. Then the new crust is created from the magma pushing up from the metal. Then lastly, we have the transform boundary, which occurs when the two plates slide past one another. As you can see on the arrow, these two arrows are pointing from different directions, therefore they are sliding past one another. This is the place where crust is neither produced nor destroyed, as the plates slide horizontally past each other. Those arrows, they are moving horizontally past each other. Now we are going into more details on those different types of plate boundaries. Firstly, we're going to talk about the divergent plate boundary. The divergent plate boundaries are where plates move away from each other. They occur along spreading centers where plates are moving apart and the new crust is created by magma and pushing up the metal. The drawers push and lift the bottom of the lithosphere, causing it to flow laterally underneath. This lateral flow entails the overlaying plate material in the direction of the flow. At the crest of the ridge, the overlaying plate is stretched, cracked, and pulls apart. The mid-Atlantic ridge is a divergent boundary. Convergent plate boundary is one of the 3 plate boundaries that we talked about in our last slides. The convergent plate boundaries are where the lithospheric plates are moving towards each other. When two oceanic plates converge, one is usually subducted under the other. Then an older oceanic plate is colder, therefore more dense and less beyond it, and will then subduct under a younger, water, less dense, and more buoyant oceanic plate. The collisions of the plates that occurs in these regions or these areas can cause earthquakes, the volcanoes, the tsunami, and the tectonic movements. The last plate of those 3 tectonic plate boundaries is the transform plate boundary. The transform plate boundary is where two plates slide past each other. The zone where two plates slide past one another, we call it a transform fault boundary or the transform boundary. The shatter zones that form the boundaries of the transform faults. These large faults connect two spreading centers or connect ranges. Most deformation faults are found in oceanic basins and connect offset in the mid-ocean ranges, or we can say most transform faults are found on the ocean floor. The tectonic plate movement has its consequences. The plates on Earth move slowly that we cannot physically observe the change. It is not easy to see the change that was caused by the movement of these tectonic plates as it moves very slowly. However, we can observe evidence from this movement. We can see that there was the change or the movement of the tectonic plates based on the evidence of its movements. The plate movement can cause both short-term and long-term changes on Earth. This includes the volcanic activity. The volcanoes are still active today because of the motion and the conduction of the plates. We also have the earthquakes. When the plates are sliding against each other or sliding down beneath each other, that will cause destruction of the surface on Earth. That's why we are experiencing earthquakes today. Then we have mountain building. The mountains started to build because of the plates movement. We also have the movement of the entire continent. The continent also move. It is because of the movement of the tectonic plates. These are the consequences that were caused by the movement of tectonic plates. These pictures gives us a summary of the consequences of the tectonic plates. As we cannot observe the movement of the tectonic plates in our naked eyes, but then we are able to observe it based on the evidence. So this is the evidence of the movement of the tectonic plates. An ice crack in the earth which was caused by the tectonic movement. We also have the volcano created from the tectonic plates movement. We cannot see it when it's moving, but then based on the evidence on this picture, we are able to see the movement of the tectonic plates. This will be the end of my presentation. Thank you.